Welcome, everybody. Good afternoon. A warm welcome to our session on successful policy improvement and achievements in enhancing SME competitiveness. Our objective today is to provide you with an overview of the topics addressed by the projects under the thematic objective SME competitiveness, including some examples. We insisted on showing you examples from projects and help you to grasp the opportunities provided by the Interreg Europe program. My name is Luc Schmerber. I'm a thematic expert for the SME competitiveness thematic objective of the Interreg Europe platform. And I will be your host today with my colleague Mart, who is also on screen with us. And our colleague René is also with us on the
Hello, screen. Everybody.
Hello, René. So on the background, we have our colleagues from the communication team. Eugenie and Mariona will help us with any technical aspects, and you can join them also to the chat or the Q&A tabs if you have any technical issues. Together with us this afternoon, we also have Ilaria and Laurencio, the policy officers for the SME competitiveness thematic objectives. So they will be also presenting in a moment. At any time, please feel free, of course, to ask questions to the speakers. You can see on the upper right part of your Hopin screen, there is a tab named Q&A. We recommend using the Q&A tab for asking questions, and using the chat, which is also there, to interact with participants more generally. You can, for instance, that's the place we've seen this morning people use to say who they are, which kind of topics they are interested in, where they come from. So you can obviously use the chat to interact with everybody, but it's easier to follow the questions if you submit them in the Q&A tab. But we'll follow both, so you will not be they will not be missed. I will say a few words on today's agenda. We have it separated in three parts. The first one will be dedicated to the overview of achievements of the project, with a presentation by our policy officers and a short input from our side. And then we will move to some successful policy improvements in the project with two examples, which we will introduce in more details later. And the third session will be dedicated to the presentation of the policy learning platform and some achievements with an example from the peer review service. Mart will be moderating this session. So without further words, I will give the word now to Laurencio for the presentation from the side of the policy officers on the project achievements. And I would recommend all the other speakers should, if they stay on stage, which is fine, close the microphones. Laurencio, please.
Good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to our thematic session on SME competitiveness. Today my role will be just to provide you a background view of what we have achieved mainly within our projects, to take you through the subjects that were approached within our projects, to show you some numbers, because it's always good to do a numbers check, an indicators check for every program that is available, and check the performance, not only ours as a program, but yours as projects. And then, of course, we will switch back to the policy learning platform, and it will be our pleasure to welcome the heroes of our program, the ones that are sharing the beautiful content that we are all in for. I'm talking about Christina, Christine, Anika, Paula, and we could give so many examples of project partners, lead partners that we are really grateful for, and really proud to follow their achievements. Now I will try to share my presentation and hopefully it will work. Okay. And I will take you through some of the main figures of the projects that we are having on SME competitiveness in the current programming period.
Lorenzo, sorry to bother you. Could you please put it in full mode presentation?
I'm trying to do this.
Thank you.
Okay. So when we are talking about the projects that are financed under the thematic objective SME competitiveness, we are actually talking about 66 projects, 66 consortium of project partners that are spread through the 4 calls of our program. We are keeping together more than 500 project partners coming from almost all partner states that are covered by our program. Unfortunately, we just missed one country in our projects, but I'm sure that they will catch up in the next programming period with more presence in this topic related to SME competitiveness. To provide you a vision of the subjects, the topics that are covered within our project, we try to structure the 66 projects that we are having into 4, let's say, subcategories. For sure, you will see some overlaps between these categories. You will also see some overlaps with other thematic objectives approached by our program. But this is also to share that the issues related to regional development cannot be put in little boxes and separated so strictly. So we are actually really happy that when we are talking about SME competitiveness, we can also talk about blue and green economy. We can also talk about innovation. So we have a lot of cross-cutting topics approach within our projects. In any case, the most of our projects, 24 of them, are projects that are gathered under the what we call support to sector, meaning that project partners that want to enhance the competitiveness of a specific sector, either cultural and creative industry, food, social enterprise, transport, maritime industries, they are coming together and discussing on the way these sectors can be supported. So this is the main bulk of projects that we are having. We are also having projects that are discussing more generally about how to provide specific support to SMEs. And we have projects that are mainly focused on internationalization, others on digital technology, ICT skills. We have projects specifically dedicated to access to finance, and also very niche projects approaching subjects such as business transfer or reducing administrative burden for SMEs. On the other hand, we have the projects dealing with entrepreneurship. So they are in the early stages of business development and at the beginning of their road towards competitiveness. And we have projects, and one of them, it will be highly featured in one of the presentations that we will have later on in this session. I'm talking, of course, about IER. We have projects tackling support for entrepreneurship for young and female entrepreneurs. We talk about projects focused on business incubation, startups. So all these are coming together in this category of entrepreneurship. And of course, we have this cross-cutting let's say, domain with TO1, with research and innovation for the projects that are approaching the SME support services from the angle of innovation capacity. And these are projects focused on digital uptake, on design, and also projects targeting specific innovation in rural or peripheral regions. So all in all, you have in this slide almost I think, everything that could be covered in terms of SME competitiveness. And our projects almost did not miss anything that there is to share info about within this field. Now, I will take you briefly through the outputs that were achieved by the projects that we are referring to, and then I will switch to the results. And it is we are very happy to present the achievements in terms of output compared to the targets that were set when we were thinking about the program in 2014. And considering that also we have the fourth call projects that are still in the initial phase, in the exchange of experience phase, these numbers will only grow. So in 2014, we imagine that we will have like 230 action plans for improving policies. So far, we reached 311. And also in terms of staff with increased capacity, we were targeting 3,000 professionals through the entire program, and only so far we achieved almost 3,800 staff with increased capacity. In terms of good practices, another amazing achievement, we have more than 1,000 good practices that have been shared by the project partners within their projects, and this is the actual content based on which results have been achieved. And talking about the results, this is the Polaroid picture of today. We have 68 million euros invested in our projects, and talking about the funds allocated to the programs that have been improved thanks to the cooperation, we see that the leverage effect, it's almost 4 times. So we could say that this is actually not our achievement, this is your achievement. You managed to give good value to the funds that were invested in your projects. In terms of policy changes, in the 66 projects that we are monitoring on SME competitiveness, we have reached so far 170 policy changes, meaning programs, strategies, plans that have been improved thanks to the lessons learned within our project. And considering that the main target of our program in the current period was the structural funds program, we are proud to say that 108 of the policy changes reported are on the programs which go under the structural funds, meaning exactly where the big amount of money for regional development is allocated by the European Union. You also have the statistics in terms of amounts of funds influenced, also split it between structural funds and other funds, and logically almost 71% goes also towards the structural funds. Now, what happens further with this knowledge, with all the good practices that are shared within our projects? We have our, let's say, knowledge cookers that are mixing all the ingredients provided within our projects and preparing these knowledge delights that we are serving to you periodically. We are talking about the services provided, of course, by the policy learning platform. And here you can see that all the good practices that are submitted by the projects are further assessed by the thematic experts of the policy learning platform. Some of them are being branded as high quality with high replication potential and featured in the policy learning platform good practices database. We prepare for you policy briefs. We organize peer reviews, workshop, matchmaking session, and many other activities is just for you to take advantage of. And with this slide, I will conclude my presentation. I will give the floor back to the policy learning platform experts, and I'm really looking forward to see the actual content and the results presented lively by the lead partners and the project partners that will be with us within this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Laurencio. I agree with you that is the most important part today, to hear from the project partners and the beneficiaries of the program. I cannot see any questions at this stage. Mart, please intervene if you see any questions. Otherwise, I will just go quickly through a few slides I have in addition, and then we might still have some questions coming up.
There are no questions at the moment, so go ahead.
Okay, so I will just share just a few reflections and slides, jumping on the previous slide presented by Laurencio, and showing those projects and the topics. So I will not be repeating that, but I will just offer another view on the projects and what they are providing from our perspective as thematic experts. And it's a view that it's inspired by one of the projects, the Trino projects, and we like to look at it. So that's a depiction coming from the Trino project. We like to look at it like our projects in SME competitiveness. They cover whole business support ecosystems, from the stand-up phase of companies to the mature phase, and with different kind of supports. And of course, they also provide supports to the sectors. So all the projects, the activities, the good practice that you've seen listed on Laurencio's slides, they will always or normally be able, you will be able to map them here somewhere. There are some activities and projects who focus more on the system, the business support ecosystem as a system, how to organize the interactions among the actors, the governance of those regional systems. So we have a lot of activities and good practices and policies on that kind of aspects. And then you have some other projects, they more focus on some specific phases of the lifetime of a company. So you have the entrepreneurship project, of course, who focus more on the stand-up startup phase. We have projects focusing on the scale-up phase. We have projects focusing on business transfer for mature companies, internationalization, of course, all the topics. You have some examples in this table, and we would probably also be able to find a few more, but it's also already an impressive list of good practices. And we have projects focusing more on different type of services like funding. So you have some projects focusing on access to finance for different kind of companies, or some projects addressing more infrastructure or soft supports like coaching, training, and different kind of consulting. Of course, Laurencio mentioned that before. This is not independent, because to each form of support you might have specific funding tools. But there's always a way to find an interesting angle normally for you to look at the good practices and the results. And of course, you have projects focusing on different kind of sectors and trying to cover all of the above for specific services. There are too many good practices to display them all and to report properly about all of them. I will just show you how it works in the example of internationalization, which is one of the most dealt with topic in our projects. So you will find practices and policies on different support schemes for SMEs. And you will find a lot of practices and policies on the regional support ecosystems, depending on what you're looking for. So there will be practices on export consortia and clusters, how groupings of SMEs can foster the internationalization, capacity building with different subtopics like coaching, training, talent attraction, a lot of material on this. Different tailored support services based on the needs of specific needs on the company, with a strong focus on first-time exporters. And with the COVID pandemic also, we had a strong focus on online marketing, online sales, which was obvious in terms of good practice and interest from the community. access to finance for internationalization, typically. And if you look at the support systems, we have tools like how regions can mobilize to jointly work on attracting foreign investments. You have the capacity building on the ecosystems, which is also an interesting topic, how to mobilize all the regional actors to improve the internationalization capacity of the companies. Support infrastructure like different information services, trade fairs, or international offices organized from the regional organizations in different regions of the world, or innovation-based internationalization with some connections here to the topics of innovation capacity. So a lot of good practice. In this case, you will find also a policy brief on the website with a detailed presentation on those topics and good practices. And we have emerging and growing topics, as we can see. There are different ones. They can mostly, for large part of them, be grouped under the topic of Industry 5.0, which is from the Commission side as understood as the transition to a sustainable, human-centric, and resilient European industry. So we have questions and already events about the circular economy and the circular business models, the twin transition, green and digital, which is also a topic from our colleagues from innovation, impact investment, how to mobilize public and private investment for the green transition. Digital skills remain a topic, upskilling, reskilling, which is addressed a lot. And resilience also came up. There is one or two projects in current projects dealing with industrial transition, one project especially, and this topic of resilience was addressed in many questions. So we see an emerging need on those topics. And here at this stage, I would like to ask you to which are the future program, what topics you would like to work on. We have prepared a Slido questions for that on your window, on your Copin window at the right. You will see a Slido tab, and from there you can access the questionnaire on SME competitiveness. So I would just suggest that you take a moment to just put a word in, and then Eugenie will show us the results in a few seconds. I hope that works well. So I'm just giving you some 30 seconds to Eugenie. Please feel free to show the results when they are coming. Yeah, I can see the topics, some of them still being social entrepreneurship. We had appears big. We had quite some projects also on social entrepreneurship, both from the entrepreneurship side or the SME competitiveness side, also corporate and social responsibility, internationalization, digital, sustainable. The topics remain very high on the agenda, and they will be part of the next funding period also. So thank you for that. And this, Bart, are we having questions or through the chat or the Q&A station at this stage?
No, not yet. So I think we can move on to our case studies or speakers, where I do encourage our audience to write to the Q&A to ask the questions as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mart. Yes, I guess that will be more directly from real life, from the examples. And that would, Annika, so we have two examples for policy improvements addressing two of the most addressed topics within the project, the internationalization entrepreneurship. And we will start with Annika Lundqvist from the Competing project. So Annika, I will give you directly the floor to introduce your project and yourself and your policy improvement. You can share your screen.
Yes, I will. Thank you. Hopefully.
So we can see it well. You can see it well. It's fine.
Perfect, thank you. So, well, hi, and thank you for the invitation to present the Regional Export Center Gävleborg, or as we call it now, Regional Export Collaboration Gävleborg, and the Compete In project. My name is Annika Lundqvist, and I'm head of the International Office, which is part of the Business Development Unit at the Municipality of Gävle. And we have been collaborating very closely with the region of Gävleborg in this project, and the whole of the team of Gävleborg, which you can see some of the stakeholders or organizations in this screen. First of all, a little bit maybe about Gävle. The Municipality of Gävle is the administrative center of the region of Gävleborg. We have 103,000 inhabitants, and the region of 10 municipalities account for 285,000 inhabitants. Situated about an hour and a half north of Stockholm, by the Baltic Sea, a logistic hub, long tradition of shipping and trading. We have the largest container port on the east coast of Sweden, in Gävle. And the background to this project from our side was that we are quite a strong export region when it comes to value. But the number of international companies is one of the lowest, counting 20% compared to up to 40% of the strongest regions in Sweden. So there was a need to strengthen the support system of SME internationalization. And when we started this process together with different, the city and the region, together with business support stakeholders, we thought that the local regional process could benefit from learnings from others. And we were really happy to be able to develop the Compete In project together with the lead partner, Reggio Emilia in Italy, and all the other partners, as you see on the map. And if we look at what we have been doing within our local action plan, we have 3 actions to improve the support system and strengthen the capacity for internationalization in SMEs, to, at the sort of higher objective, increase the number of international SMEs. And we had an indicator of 1,000 exporting companies, starting off at 774, I think, and we arrived at more than 1,230 even before the end of the project. So as you can see, we had 3 action, of which one is the regional export centers and all the different activities that has making up that action. Another one based on the support from the university to the SME internationalization, and the third one on internationalization of innovative startups. And as I said from the beginning, we already from the beginning thought that it would be an added value to work with others and learn from others. And the Compete In project has really given us this sort of transnational perspective and network to work on these issues. And we have had a lot of knowledge and experiences from our cities and regions, but also from the policy learning platform. And we had examples from export centers both in Poland and Italy regarding how to work with financial incentives, and as well as business support that we could include in our action plan. And we were really also successful in developing ERDF-funded projects based on the local action plan. So actually then working specifically on the regional export center on innovative startups within the Sprintex project, and together with the university in the HAR-EC project. So other takeaways we have is that, well, it was really good for us to have already set up this sort of local stakeholder group before the start, and we were able to build on this process and develop it at the same time. And that it is a continuous work. There are a lot of changes in stakeholder organizations throughout the project, but also it continues. And we could really wish for some more long-term commitment and strategies from national level, for example. But this has also given us the opportunity to work multi-level and really bring all our different resources together to reach our goals. And we were really happy to be also selected as one of the 30 stories in the publication of the Interreg Europe, When Europe Cooperates, Regions Benefits. So where are we now? As I said, well, there is a continuous work, and the region of Gävleborg coordinates the continuous work of the regional export center, but also then including investment promotion and looking at the sustainable organization also for working with talent attraction. And we are really happy that we can also continue the cooperation with the partners within the competing projects for one more year with additional activities, focusing then on a structural strategy for the sort of medium long term coming back after the COVID and pandemic times. And during this year, we will look at all different subjects, but they really are linked to the continuous work at local and regional level in Gävle and Gävleborg. Thank you. And I included a little greeting as well from our special star in Gävle. Thank you.
Season greetings, yes. Thank you, Annika, for this. Maybe one quick question from my side while waiting for Mart, if there are other questions. What was the specific value of transnational cooperation for your project? What would you say if you could put it in a very few words?
I think it's both the way that you get sort of new and other new learnings, new knowledge and experiences of others. You don't need to do, well, you can see how others have set up, for example, export centers, and they can share with you the things that maybe didn't go as well, or the challenges that they faced, and that way you can adapt and hopefully avoid those challenges yourself. But it's also a way of strengthening the cooperation among stakeholders, because going out, working together, creating this common vision and joint actions together with others, that also it's an inspiration, but it's also something that pushes you forward, because you have deadlines, you have to move forward. So I think it's both like a push and pull thing.
I think that's something, and maybe Lorenzo and Ilaria might agree. We hear a lot that the people say also the transnational cooperation is very important, that it helps to strengthen the regional internal cooperation, because
exactly
to bring the people around around the same objective. It's easier.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that, Annika. We need to go forward. So I would just ask Christine and Francesca and Paula already on stage, so we can start with the second example, which is dedicated to entrepreneurship. And I would ask Eugenie or Mariona to start sharing the presentation. And Christine, I think you will be starting with presenting. So you need exactly, Christine, it's up to you.
Thank you, Luke. Good afternoon, Europe. So I'm really pleased to present our project today with our colleagues in Margate, Paula, and Francesca. So startup and entrepreneurship are really the buzzword today. For the IEA project, we try to discover what they actually meant to the European regions and are there implications like to how we can best support business creation and also entrepreneurial success. So before we dive into the result, let's check out the video. Would you please play from your side? Thank you.
Europe's economic...
Thank you. Could you hear me? So thanks to this learning with startups, we really use their agile like business model to develop this framework that we called Growth Grid. It's a bit similar to what Luke just showed from this another kind of mapping business development framework, but we use this one to examine how holistic the regional entrepreneurial policy are actually supporting the development of entrepreneurial skills and also in every stage of business life cycle in our ER regions. But it's really through this peer learning. Can we go to the next stage? Next slide, please. But it's really through this peer learning and also support enabled by the Interreg funding, we were really able to fast track this development to both learning from a peer-to-peer learning perspective, but also the improvement of the policy. We are really pleased to say that in the 4 years, we were able to gather and have involved almost 2,700 people in the work we do, and also really gather the 40 million investment in a way through better channel and policy design for our regions. And the real jewel of the crowd was this Aula Prende that has been showed earlier on in the video. But now I would like to invite my colleague Paola and also Francesca to share the experience on how they actually are adopting and learning this Aula Prende introduced by Valencia. Paola.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here and thanks for your invitation. Aula Imprende program was selected as pilot action in our project. It is a best practice created by Universitat de Valencia, where it's known by the name of Motiven. The goal of our Imprende is to train university teachers and researchers of any area of knowledge in capabilities and entrepreneurial motivating skills. The final purpose is to promote the entrepreneurial mindset among university students according to the scheme developed by the IER project. Marke Regional Authority has been inspired by such a good practice, and then it was embedded in the Marke Region IR Action Plan delivered in 2018 at the end of the first phase of the project. Next one, please.
Aula Imprende pilot
Next one. Next one.
The Marke region was aimed to involve all the 4 regional universities to improve their innovation competencies and to introduce innovative teaching methods. It was based on an enthusiastic engagement of our 4 rectors, and the experiment in Marke lasted 10 months from September 2018 to June 2019, and the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship of the Polytechnic University of Marke was in charge of the scientific coordination. The main phases, next one please. The main phases of the experiment were, in few words, the international training camp held in Valencia to train some teachers from Marke, 24 teachers and tutors in Marke trained on design thinking and team building, then the implementation of the innovative approach with students during 1 academic semester, and then the creation of 32 students team which worked on original business idea. Next one, please. At the end of the project, the business ideas were presented and awarded at the final competition event organized in Ancona by the Marke Regional Authority. And the best 4 business ideas were awarded. The next one, please. The 4 awarded projects were about different topics, from the use of organic waste to produce a vitamin supplement which enriches yogurt, flour, and even real ale, that is, birra artigianale, or even a software able to detect and store information concerning those fresh products bought without the barcode, or even a didactic robotic tool to win over students from secondary school to study a scientific subject. And finally, an app designed to promote intercultural communication for regional companies willing to go abroad for their businesses. Next one. Next one, please.
Marche Regional Authority invested from its ESF Regional Operative Program 2014-2020 Career Guidance Plans more than 55,000 euros, besides the grant from the IR pilot action. The customer satisfaction survey gives us a very positive feedback, and also considering the number of students involved in just in one semester, and also the varieties of different scientific areas, from humanistic to robotic ones, from linguistics to financial mathematics. Please, the next one. The embedding of the IR action plan concept and actions in Marche region, ISEF Regional Operative Program is still active. And recently, in combination with the approval of the first Regional Act on Support Startups in spring 2021, it was launched a regional ESF call of about euros called Net4You, Networking for You, aiming at supporting the setting up of an entrepreneurial regional ecosystem, mobilizing regional entrepreneurial stakeholders already used to work together in a collaborative atmosphere, also thanks to the work done during the IR project, favoring their international networking, thus fertilizing the ground to make long-lasting this tangible regional support towards a long-term policy change. Thank you for attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paola, Francesca, and Christine. It was very interesting. We have a strict schedule, so because we're part of a main event, so we need to go on. But you provided a lot of information. I know other regions on the project also transferred this Ola Emprende good practices, and also this model presented by Christine, the entrepreneurship model, is also accessible, of course, from the IER website and from your publications of your project, and could be very relevant to other region. And just I must say, the 1,500% of investment profit or scale up, that was very impressive. I did manage with none of my investments so far. So investment in policy change is definitely a good thing to do and a good message to take away home. So thank you, and we will move directly now to my colleague Mart, who will explain how, with the support of the policy learning platform, all regions of Europe can access this knowledge that you developed within Competin or within IER or other projects. Mart, I would lead you the words for this last part of our meeting.
Yes, thank you, Luc, and welcome to everybody from my side as well. So now we're moving from the projects to the policy learning platform and what else we do to benefit policymakers across Europe with our different services and activities. So basically, the platform consists of these three main activity lines. We have the Knowledge Hub, which collects these good practices and different written publications. Then we have a community of peers. The platform has around 20,000 members from across Europe, which is also a good resource for you to potentially find future collaboration partners. And then we have the expert policy support, where Luke, me, and René come in to give you tailored policy advice and assistance. And I will tell you briefly about all of these in my next few slides. So here I just want to emphasize that we have this online learning environment. This is also a bit what Laurencio was talking about as the knowledge cooker. So just for you to know that you can rewatch previous webinars and workshops. For example, just a few weeks ago, we had a workshop on SME's digital transition. And then, of course, these various good practices are on the platform, different written reports where we condense the information and the knowledge achieved within various projects. So, for example, the latest one was on regional branding for SME success. And then you're very welcome to join our newsletter called the Policy Digest. And my colleague Eugenie will put these relevant links to the chat as well. But our most hands-on services are these three. So the policy help desk, the matchmaking sessions, and the peer reviews. The policy help desk is basically just you writing an email to us with your policy question. So for example, maybe you are interested in how to set up a regional accelerator program, then you can just send this question to us and we will share you relevant materials and resources and good practices from across Europe. And then we can also go more in depth with your question by facilitating a matchmaking session or a peer review. So matchmaking, and here on this slide, you can see how many peer reviews and matchmakings we've had, roughly 30 of them across Europe. But on this slide, I can tell you a bit more about what the matchmaking is. And this is based on a case from Poland, where we tackled the issue of knowledge transfer from academia to SMEs. So really, it's a very simple application process. You just contact us through email or through the platform saying that you would like to have a meeting. And then what we do is we try to find peers or experts from Europe who have some knowledge on this to come and talk to you and share their experience. So differently from a webinar, this is just a closed event with you, with your questions, and then the experts and us. And in this case, from Upper Silesia, we had experts from Finland and Ireland. And usually we host these as 2-hour meetings. Currently, we organize them online, but in principle, we can also do them on site as part of larger European conferences. And it's very easy for you as an applicant because most of the work is done by me and Luc and René, and also the concluding documents will be drafted by us. So it's relatively low effort to get some good knowledge from across Europe. And in the case of from Upper Silesia, it was a nice matchmaking service because after that, they have now gone even deeper with their questions and have submitted 2 peer review applications to follow up on even richer policy learning. And the peer review is very similar to the matchmaking, but it's just a longer event. It's usually 2 days. We host them also online and on site. And in this case, we have more experts involved, so usually around 5 or 6. And on my slide, I have a case from this summer from Tartu, Estonia, where we tackled the issue of how to set up a Green Deal accelerator and an impact investment fund. So again, the application process is very simple. It's just a 2-page document you need to submit, and we can also give you advice while preparing it and then give you feedback on it. And then we would have this 2 days fully tailored for you, expert knowledge sharing, discussion. And it's a bit of a co-creation as well, that we sort of jointly prepare these hands-on policy recommendations with you and the experts. And these are followed up with these post-closure interviews to see what was the outcome for you a few months after this peer review took place. And there's an open call for both matchmaking and peer reviews. You can apply whenever. These are free of charge services for policymakers. And while it's an open call, I do encourage you to submit already an application perhaps in December, because this way we can provide our service to you early next spring. So do check out these services to apply to them. But I would also want to go deeper with one of these cases. So here we have the case of AWS, where we tackled the topic of trustworthy artificial intelligence. And I would like to invite Christina Koch to join me on screen so that we can discuss this a bit further.
Sure. Hi.
Hi, Christina. How are you? It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. I'm quite okay, even though we are back on lockdown in Austria.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. Our peer review actually was also in I think January 2020, so right before things started to get.
We were very lucky that we could host you all in person still, right before the first lockdown.
So it's been like a full circle. But I wanted to ask you then, that why did you decide to apply for this peer review service?
Well, it was, why did we decide to apply for it? It was at the time that that there was another call open in Austria, a national funding program from the Research, Technology and Development Foundation. And there we applied for a pilot to be financed on trustworthy artificial intelligence. So that was the main idea. However, in our organization, we didn't really have the expertise for that topic. And I heard about the peer review and convinced my colleagues to apply for that. So we applied at the same time for the peer review and for the Research, Technology and Development Foundation. Actually, we got the peer review, the positive answer by you first, and we reported this result also to the jury of the foundation, which for sure also helped us that the pilot as well got improved or approved by the foundation.
And could you briefly elaborate that what was the challenge or the questions you had regarding artificial intelligence?
Well, this program is dedicated, or this pilot is dedicated to a special topic. As I mentioned it before, it's on the trustworthiness of artificial intelligence. This kind of topic is not addressed in another funding program in Austria yet, and it's a topic that is going to become more and more important. And yeah, we wanted to know if there's any kind of experts out there in Europe to use their expertise for us, since we didn't have that.
And I remember we had a very nice exchange for 2 days, but I would like to ask you also that what did you see as the main benefits of interacting with the peers from Europe?
Well, of course, the expertise that we got and that we got in the end 23 recommendations to for our program, because in the beginning for the pilot we didn't know how to write it, what to focus on especially, and within those 2 days we talked a lot and exchanged a lot with the experts and got a lot of tips on how to do it. So because of the peer review, the pilot has been designed a certain way, and it has proven to be very successful. We're now in the second round of the pilot. There's a lot of interesting projects that we are currently funding within this pilot, and it looks quite good that this might also become a permanent national program.
You already sort of answered my last question, but nonetheless, it's fine. I wanted to ask really, like, what has been the follow-up after receiving this peer review? That what has been the implementation of this advice or success? But anything you want to elaborate on this?
Yeah. Besides what I've already mentioned, we've also had, because we had so many experts on the table, we were also able to invite national policymakers, quite important one, that are focusing on this topic, and they, after the peer review, also invited us as an organization to be joining the national team of artificial intelligence and how should we approach it in Austria. So we used it also nationally, and we got some visibility within Austria because of the experts that we had from you. And yeah, that helped that we got also national important policymakers come to our organization and work with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think you did very well in capitalizing on the service and taking it even further than we expected. So it was very a pleasure for us to hear also how the process went after we stepped away and you took the knowledge to the next level. So thank you, Christina, for sharing your experience with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for this service. Really, it really helped us a lot, and we really tried to use it as much as possible and squeeze out as much information for us as possible.
Yes, and that's a very good encouragement message, that to use the services to their maximum that we offer. So as I mentioned, there's an open call. You can find more information through the links shared on our website, and then you can always apply for a similar peer review service as Christina from AWS has come through with her team. Luke, I give the word back to you.
Yes, thank you, Mart. Just a few remarks, maybe answering a question not asked today, but this morning in the main session, to make it clear, I think you said that, but the expert service are not only available for project partners, but they are available for non-project partners. So the only request is that for the peer review, you should be responsible of the policy you want to address with the peer review, but you don't need to be involved in any project or have been involved before in any project to submit a request. So I would just mention that. And it's 3 o'clock already. It's time for us to conclude. So I would take the occasion to say thank you, a big thank you to all the speakers. Not only for being here today, but for having produced the results which enable us to be here today and to have nice slides like Laurencio presented with very nice figures. And this is thanks to the project. And you are invited to head to the main stage. You have this announcement on the main stage. There will be a few words already on what is going to come tomorrow, which will be the second day of Europe Let's Cooperate, with information on the new program and some opportunities also to network. So we will close now, and wishing you also successful application once the new calls come, and you will hear more about that in a few minutes and tomorrow. Thank you for today. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice afternoon. Goodbye.
Imagine if you could easily find solutions to make your region or city smarter, greener, better connected, more social, and closer to citizens. The Interreg Europe Policy Learning Platform can help you access knowledge about the latest policy trends, discover expert-validated good practices from all over Europe, find solutions in our peer review, get tailored support from our expert team. We can connect you with the right people and organizations. Together, we will find ways to solve your region's or city's challenges. Start your policy learning journey today.